interesting and exciting video on my channel. Today I'll be sharing with you how the Nigerian fans scattered the stadium in Abuja after the Super Eagles were defeaters of Ghana in the World Cup.
You're welcome back from that news break. It is the big issue on OSRC TV if you're just joining us. And our focus today is the Super Eagles' failure to qualify for the Qatar 2022 World Cup. And of course, the aftermath, of the behavior of Nigerian soccer fans after the loss. And on this segment of the show, Sunday Kolawole is right here to work with me. How are you, Sunday?
It's nice seeing you again. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us on the big issue once again.
Sunday, were you particularly disappointed?
Disappointed would be an understatement because patriotism, to a large extent, met disappointment. And so, what do you expect of one? Of course, I was disappointed.
Okay, it's all good. Let's hope for a better play next time.
Next time, you say?
Panelists, yes, the next 4 years or so. Our panelists for this session today, we have Mr. Henry Olonimoyo, a sports enthusiast. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for inviting me.
We also have Otumba Akinbobola, a former board member of the Nigerian Premier League and presently Director General, Sunshine Stars and Sunshine Queens. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here.
All right, let's kickstart by, referring to what our lead discussant said. He said something, yes, we were all disappointed. He said the behavior of the soccer fans was not too, acceptable, but it was understandable. For you, as a sports, person, what do you say?
It's condemnable. That behavior is absolutely irresponsible and condemnable. In sports, you win, you lose, you draw, particularly football. To start destroying properties, our collective properties doesn't make sense.
Yeah, collective property.
And destroying the properties and our monuments, will not bring back the lost victory. So for me, I condemn it entirely, no matter the frustration. You don't, because somebody slaps you on the road, then you take a machete and machete him, you will go to jail. So what they did is criminal, is wrong, is absolutely irresponsible. And I beg to say that I don't think it's completely because we lost. Perhaps there's some pent-up anger, in the people, and they just use the opportunity of the loss, the frustration of the loss, to now ventilate their anger, and they misbehaved.
You seeming to nod in agreement, Henry.
Yes, of course. It will be killing ourselves to think that it was just only a football matter that led to the aggression from the fans after the final whistle. There's this piled up aggression, frustration within the people. We also know that leading up to that particular day, the disaster that happened along the Abuja-Kaduna rail line, and many other things that happened in the country. But one must condemn seriously the aggression of the fans. It could even cost the nation sanctions, bans from the governing body of football in the world. That's FIFA, because it's a dangerous thing to do. What if life were lost? What if some of the players were injured? What if international degrees were injured in that fracas? So it's something, and again, it's also a call to action to our security agents. Whenever we have games of that nature, proper security must be on ground, in not just in numbers also, to ensure that they are able to curtail a crowd like that in the eventuality that people
because the stadium
want
was
to
packed.
show frustration. But as regards the result for that day, it was highly disappointing. And I saw it coming. I remember that in the first leg, I was telling people that whenever you have a game that has an away goal rule, there is a very important need for you to ensure you score away in the home of your opponent, because if you do not score in the home of your opponent, you are giving your opponent every incentive, every motivation to just get a goal by all means in your home, and then you'll be in trouble. You would need to score 2. And the performance, people don't talk about it, but the performance in Kumasi was nothing to write home about. We did not trouble them as we should. And I must tell you, this is the weakest Ghanaian team we've ever faced in recent years. And this is one of the most talented Super Eagles team that we have ever had in recent years. And so, to have come through those 2 legs with only 1 goal to show for, it is bad. And not apart from that also, you remember that the ouster of Nigeria from the African Cup of Nations, 1 goal was what knocked us out. Now again, 1 goal knocked out this team. For a team that boasts a lot of attacking talents. I mean, past and present, some of them have even come out of retirement to come to that team. For us not to be able to overcome just a goal setback, it shows a lot about the coaching and the frame of mind of the boys.
I need to have your analysis of that. Most talented Super Eagles ever, weakest Black Stars ever. Yet we had that outcome.
I don't agree with his, but that's his own opinion.
Yes.
Of course.
I don't say most talented.
One of the most talented.
I see our Super Eagles as not compact and technically sound enough.
When you say Super Eagles, the players or the coach now, or all put together?
All put together.
Okay.
All put together. The present crop of Eagles, the ones that played against Ghana and Ghana, and the one that played against Ghana and Nigeria, for me, doesn't have much to show. I look at the team, I watch the match, both matches, and there's not one player that you can pick that was very outstanding, or like the days of Kanu or Kocha, Olise, you will see people coming to do magic. When they go and get stuff, you see people that will rise up to the occasion. There was nobody to rise up to the occasion, so I wonder where the talent is.
So you agree with Dr. Peter's side that the players even moderate sleep?
Well, I don't really know which angle Peter's side is coming from, but I know
that they didn't deliver. Yeah,
they didn't. I know we have a Super Eagles that is not up to what Nigerian Super Eagles should be.
Perhaps that was meant by that they have moderate sleep. Judging by us be attacking them.
Ghana played tactically better. Ghana was fitter. The Ghanaian players were fitter, and the Ghanaian players were determined. You could see determination, robust play, intensive football in the way they played. Nigerian players, a couple of them had no business in that team.
Really?
The left fullback had no business in that team. One Bassi that was changed, Bassi had no business in that team. A lot of, I can point about 4 or 5 of those players that are not better than players we have in the Nigerian Premier League. But because the coaches these days are lazy, unlike the coaches of those days that were willing to work. These ones just want to pick talents because they are in Europe. The mentality that they are in Europe is what is driving them to pick players. Forgetting that you can be in Europe and not be better than those here. Aminike was here. Finidi George was here. Our former goalkeeper Nyama were here, and they distinguished themselves. They were outstanding, So it's high time we build our Super Eagles based on our Premier League. Then we just spice it with some of these boys from abroad, because not all of them are quality enough.
Okay, so are you saying that perhaps the days when we had foreign coaches, we churned out better player, we did better compared to now that we're deciding to look inwards?
Let me tell you, I was discussing with my boss yesterday, the deputy governor, and I told him, I said, when you play up this indigenous thing, you don't look at the challenges that indigenous coaches will face. One, they face challenges of being undermined naturally
By the people.
Naturally, a prophet is not recognized in his own country. It's a natural
Should it
phenomenon.
be like that?
It's a natural thing. It's
Even in
there,
football.
It's there in the Bible. It's in every aspect of life. The way people will respect you when you go out of your territory, you know, they don't know you may not even have a penny in your pocket, or you're well dressed, and they look at, but in your territory, they know you're kidding. They said it to Jesus. Is he not the son of
Joseph?
you know? So that's one challenge. The other challenge is influences, external influences within your territory, obas, political leaders, everybody influencing you, relations and friends. People that you cannot say no to.
Does that make any difference even with a foreign coach? He will pay
with
the
a foreign,
no.
A foreign coach will come. He knows nobody. He doesn't have a traditional ruler calling. He doesn't have.
Was that the case where he just mentioned that he
who pays the piper calls the tune?
To some extent.
Okay.
Raw was stubborn. Raw wasn't the best of coaches, but Raw was stubborn. He refused to listen, and they allowed him because it was there in his contract. I don't know if you're getting the picture I'm painting.
Very well.
Raw was stubborn. He may not be as fantastic as other coaches, you know, but he was stubborn. He said, "This is what I want," and everybody abided. And somehow he was qualifying us. Somehow, I want to repeat that word. But in this case now, Guavon went to Cameroon. Guavon again World Cup, and you cannot. I'm a stakeholder. I'm in the system. You cannot rule away the challenge of influences. You must play so person because of so thing. We want so person, and this mentality of going to source for players born outside Nigeria that you don't even know their capacity and background, players that are second rated where they are in England or in France, you know, they are not champions where they are champions in wood. Then you bring them to Nigeria, you want them to dominate the scene. It doesn't make sense to me.
No, I beg to differ on the crop of talents that the present Super Eagles possess. I think we must realize that this is no longer 20 or 30 years ago now. Immigration is higher now than ever before. And for instance, I was taking a look at Arsenal Football Club, their reserve, their junior teams. You have a lot of Nigerian names in those teams. That means that Nigerians who left the shores of the country a decade ago, they are enrolling their children in the reserve teams of these clubs. Some of them are giving birth to children there. That means that we should be ready. We will see many more of this in the future. Probably in the time of the Finidi George, of J.J. Okocha, Nigeria had a very booming domestic league, and most of these people started from the league. But you see, in the last 10 years, we see now, even the two defenders on that day, they were not born here. Leon Balogun and Trustekong. And that is the trend that will continue. But where I'm really disturbed is, apart from the fact that there's a lack of leadership in the squad. We don't have people who are mentally strong to say, this is what we want to do. I am confused that the Nigerian football team, we seem to have lost our footballing pattern. I used to know that in the USA 94, Nigeria was widely heralded as the most entertaining team in that competition. Even in 1996 Olympics, when we came out with gold, the Nigerian team were known for beautiful, free-flowing attacking football. But you see, particularly part of the problem we had with General. But the only thing that happened under General was his football was not exciting, but it was somehow getting the job done. But EU started coming out when we started discovering that when Nigeria started losing 1 or 2 games, Central African Republic came to Nigeria, beat Nigeria at home, and then people were now wondering, oh, can we trust this man for the big competition in the AFCON? Can we trust him for the playoff, the two-legged playoff for the World Cup qualifiers? And then head started, and then we must realize that when a team is still without a lot of talents, the coach has less problem. But you see, when you start having a lot of talents coming in, people that can actually do so well, then the weaknesses of the coaching team, coaching crew, begins to become amplified. And I think that was happening with the Nigerian Super Eagles. Because now we have, these guys are playing week in, week out, doing well for their clubs in Europe. And
So what's the
many
problem
of them
when they
were
come to the shores of Nigeria?
now, so now what I'm trying to say is, we don't have an identity. This team, for instance, they came in Abuja. I saw that the playing pattern was route one. The defenders, the goalkeepers will just root the ball up, and this is not Super Eagles. This is not Super Eagles. These are players that put the ball on the ground. These are players that take on the opposition. Ghanaians were more at home in Abuja than they were at Kumasi. If you were watching the game around the 60-something or 70-something minutes, you would not have a clue who was looking for a goal. It appeared as if the game was going to go into extra time. There was nothing. Everybody was at ease. You didn't see that sense of urgency. You didn't see that bite that we were at home.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
We have this mentality. Naija can bang. Naija can last.
We know they carry last.
We know they carry last. Every Naija made, when I say Naija made in Nigeria, brought up in Nigeria, grows up with that mentality. Never say die. Even when you are dying, you are still
struggling.
It's not over until it's over.
When you are born Nilo Yibo,
Yes, sir.
you don't have that never say die mentality. So it is clear that what is affecting our game is that we have a crop of players that are not the die-hard normal Nigerian blood when it comes to ruggedity. Nigerians can survive.
To excel in any
Look,
way.
there's hardly a country in this world where you go to, you will not find a Nigerian. Even in the coldest areas of the world, Nigerians are survivors. So when you bring in Oyibo-made Nigerian,
They were born by Nigerians.
hold on.
So they are
It's
the
a-
DNA.
There must be something, something about the
agreeing
Nigerian
with you, but I'm
soil.
letting you see another
I
angle
understand
that
that.
is the bane of what we have now. So it's better when you make up the Super Eagles Nigerian made, and then color it, strengthen it with this Oyibo in quote. When I say Oyibo, Nigerians in the diaspora, we can pick 16 players locally, about 30 trading them, but quality 16, and you bring in quality 10 from outside to join the quality 16, you make a good team. You build it over some years, 2-3 years, they mature. In about 2 years time, they mature. And the mentality of that never say die of a Nigerian, that was why Kaduwan, Koje, Jokota, those guys were superheroes because they grew up here in Ajegule, in Benin, in Warri, in the or the sand, in the beach, where you have to, the water you are drinking is the one you are, and is the one you are using to buy. That you are rugged right from the day you are born. You are already a rugged person. Unlike somebody who has never seen a blackout. Never seen that. He has never run into a pothole. Policemen don't carry guns in Britain, except there's a crime. He has never seen it. He now comes to our stadium, he sees policemen carrying guns. He starts wondering, are we in a war situation? So having said that, for me, I think we should go back to the drawing board. When last did the NFF work on our youth development program? Domestic youth development program across the 36 states of the country, so that in
Like the
5
Principals
years,
Cups and
all those
that,
things, Principals Cups, Youth Fund, in those days, a lot of players
World Cup.
that played for Nigeria went through Youth Fund, Principals Cup, and cups here and there.
Yeah.
Those things are dead. If I were NFF president, my main program will be how to develop and discover and develop talents within Nigeria. Not this total concentration of bringing in. He says, I visited so person in England. That's what Pinnick will always tell you. I visited so person, I visited so person in Turkey. I go to so person in Russia and in Germany. How about our local talents here? If we develop them, they grew up with that Nigerian mentality and they become a plus, for us, and they help us to win into the World Cup. Now we have another 4 years. If we can start now to localize our developmental program, I think we can go to the World Cup in the next 4 years. But if we continue along this, line of bringing in Oyibo-made Nigerians,
but even beyond that, if you take a look at the configuration of the play, especially what Dr. Ida Peters, I did say that it's like the players got overwhelmed. They've not faced such crowd and all of the. Perhaps they were not emotionally fit for that kind of an encounter. You even did say that, it's, for instance, you now ask him to face Nigerians and tell them something. What will he tell Nigerians? For instance, you're asking him, where is this particular thing going on?
You don't go to school to learn how to address people. You don't go to school. It's a natural thing. You either have courage or you don't have courage.
So it goes to say that they lack courage.
They don't have it. They don't have that Nigerian mentality facing difficult terrains. No matter the difficulty in the stadium, large crowd, whatever, a typical Nigerian may get jittery the first 10, 20 minutes. After some time, the Nigerian spirit comes in. We call it Nigerian spirit. It's all over the place. It comes in. You want to excel. You want to be the best. You know, Nigerians want to be the best. And that's why all over the world, when we leave Nigeria, we may not be the best here. But you leave Nigeria, you go to Germany, you go to US, you see them excelling. They are outstanding, you know, because they go with that Nigerian mentality. So for me, I don't want to completely agree with Peter's side. You know, he's my very good friend. But what I want to say is, if we build a Super Eagles that has this local attitude and local mentality, perhaps, because it's God that can see to the future, perhaps we can do better than what we did now. Our glorious days were days when you had players playing abroad, but they left. Look at Osimhen. In the entire squad now, you see the mentality of a Nigerian in Osimhen, because he grew up in Ojota. That he was hawking pure water. So he has the ruggedity of survivor. He wants to survive. If you watch them, compare Osimhen and Lukman. Compare Osimhen and, you know,
on the scale. No, I think we are already castigating them just because.
No. Sorry. I'm not castigating.
Of what?
Hold on, my good friend. You will have your time. I'm not castigating. Football is difficult. It's easy to talk. But I'm talking about mentality. You know, generally speaking. I'm just mentioning names to substantiate.
Still on the issue of that mentality. If you look at that game, the penalty Nigeria scored was won by Ademola Lookman. And if it wasn't based on his European training, he wouldn't have won that penalty. His small stature, his ability to maneuver around two defenders, and then lure one of them into bringing him down was what got the penalty. Who took the penalty? One of the Oyibo boys. 2 seconds. So please, let's know that Nigerians, do you know that when some of these guys are invited to the team, for the first part of the initiation ceremony they do for them is they ask them to sing a Nigerian song, and some of them is unbelievable. The slangs they already know about the Nigerian people. Some of them is
but
just.
Does that affect their play?
No. What I'm saying is that
some of Nigerian
them. What I'm trying to say, yes. Some of them you just realize that actually this person was just born there. He's as much as a part of us. Has anything. And we must not, despite all we need the homegrown here, we go to World Cup every year and they send us back home. The people who send us back home are the people who are in the Europe. I'm trying to say it is systems, technicalities that win you football games. And that day, we did not have it. Over the 2 legs, we did not have it. This coaching crew was inept. For instance, I'll pick specific things. Why did you use Seydou Sanusi, the left back, in the first leg? And of course, there was nothing wrong with us defensively in Kumasi. Why did you change your defense in the second leg? Why did you bring Bassi? Bassi, who was upgrown in Scotland, Bassi said he was struggling to breathe when he came on in the first leg. Somebody who said he was struggling to breathe, you used him to start the game in Abuja in a very hot stadium. Why did you do that? And we saw that he was slowing down things from the left flank. So I want to believe that going forward, I agree with what Oga said, that we need to look into raising up homegrown footballers very, very well. We need all of those things have to come up again. I feel it's been dying, and that's why a lot of our young people are going into drug abuse and the rest and so on. And I also now wish that we don't stop on the pay your players. What value are we adding to our homegrown coaches? It seems to be dying. If you look at Nigeria now, you can only call a pool of 3 or 4 coaches that have been rotating around the Super Eagles. And of blessed memory, the late Keshi and Shuaibu Amodu. We are not bringing up the new coaches. Argentina is closed by Scaloni. Another young homegrown coach. Brazil is closed by Tite. England is closed by Gareth Southgate. How many of our young coaches are we adding value to? Are coming up on the scene? We are not having that.
And then let's talk about catching them young, like you mentioned. Both of you agree with Dr. Peter's side on that one as well. If you look at it, it requires in other climes, they go to the schools, they make sure that they organize all of these tournaments and all of that. And then the universities also step in by offering scholarships, here and there, ensuring that these children have something to hold on to even while they serve their nations. Do you think Nigeria has the wherewithal to go that route? Especially with the fact that we're always talking about the socioeconomic status of our country at the moment.
Absolutely, there's the wherewithal. It depends on government, political will, the willpower, the desire of whoever is the head, and everybody will fall in and execute, When he said systems, I tend to nod until I now saw it. I thought he was talking about our system generally, globally as a country, until I noticed that it was with the team,
Yeah.
So, and I don't
so when you talk
along that
systems,
line,
what are you referring
because he complained about players not being played. It might be injury, it might be sickness, because you are not in the camp, you don't know what internal problems they have. It might even be a player saying, I can't play. What I stood all night. Players lie at times, maybe because he's panicky, So all those things you would know, and nobody will come and say that.
Where does patriotism come into play then?
At times players shake, So, but if we're talking our system, once upon a time we had a system in this country where there was Principal's Cup, recognized, celebrated. We had youth fund tournaments here and there. A lot of our players, all of them went through youth fund. Plenty of them. We had a system where there was National Sports Festival and football was competitive. We have so many systems, that threw up talents from our grassroots. We also had practicing pitches here and there. Some of these schools have converted their pitches for parties. Schools no longer play. When I was in secondary school, inter-house soccer tournament in my school was like a World Cup. Each hostel had drums, supporters club. It was in the field, in my field. I went to a Catholic school. It was celebration. It was like a World Cup. People come out dressed, we contribute money as students for the supporters club to come out in colors, and each house had a games master. All those things are dead. Schools no longer even care. Principals don't care about sporting activities in their various schools.
That this might actually be one of the things that the youth of today need to go back to engage
if
them.
we can get these youths involved, a lot of them have talents, but there's no facility to help them express and develop their talents. So by and large, let me relate this now to our Super Eagles. If we can develop a massive grassroots developmental program, not just for football but for sports, but let's zero on football because we're talking football now, and a lot of talents are discovered from the hinterlands that naturally wouldn't have an opportunity if nobody brings them out or showcase them. These boys will grow with the Nigerian spirit. So by the time my brother here exports them to Germany or Russia, that Nigerian spirit goes with them. They are used to NEPA taking light, living days without light. They are used to drinking pure water. You understand what I mean? Pure water.
Those are not the things we want to say.
Hold on.
But that's the reality.
That's our life.
That's
what he's saying.
That's our life. They are used to riding on roads where it's gallop bumpy. They are used to, yap. They are rugged. They are rugged. So right from childhood, look, Brazil that is excelling, Argentina have such resemblance to us too. Their life is not different from our life that much. So right from childhood, they are also developing. That's why Brazilians excel. That's why the Argentines, that's why you see those people excelling, because they are similar to us. That's why Ghana too is okay like us. We are all the same thing. And most of those boys that played for Ghana played in Ghana before going to Europe. Majority of them go and check.
So what beyond the can-do spirit, Nigerian ruggedity and ruggedness and all of that. I'm more interested in your assessment and analysis of the tact, the strategic ingenuity of the coaching crew as far as this match was concerned.
Before I respond to that, most of us have our children fenced up. Cartoon Network. I wasn't fenced up when I was young. From school, I dropped my school from. I'm on the street playing football in front of my house. They say, "Abo, your
legs." Coming from school, even doing
you without eating, you're back.
Of course,
those things are gone. That's where our problems are. But tact. It was I don't want to use that strong language. I almost say stupid. It wasn't wise enough for Iguavon to try to change.
I think everyone
within a short time
really embittered.
Within a short time.
Dr. Peter side also struggled with not using strong words.
Raw, all Iguavon needed to do was to look at the strong point of what Raw was doing, look at the weakness, try to retune the weakness, see how he can, and the strong points, use it. Because you can't change a team within a space of 1 month, 2 months, and it's not a team that stays together. They come in for 3-4 days, they are back. You know, and Raw had built something for about 4 years. You just come within 2 months, you start changing, tinkering here and there. It doesn't make sense. I think it was an error on Iguavon's part. Yes, he should have continued with Raw's approach, no matter how he feels about it, and gradually, you know, bring in his own philosophy, his own mentality, his own character into. For me, that was where he got it wrong. You know, that's not tactful enough.
Many have also taken a swipe at the leadership of football, as it were, in Nigeria. Some talked about political interference, some talked about ineptitude on the part of the leaders, some talked about inconsistency in considerations to professionalism. Are those not also
Dr. Peter
crucial?
Side actually
He also talked about
the
that.
NFF being complicit.
The buck stops on their table. You don't take football matters and say the buck stops on Muhammadu Buhari's table. No. He has put some people there. You know, he has released money. It's their table. The buck stops on the table of the Nigerian Football Federation. And for me, they have failed. You don't win, you fail, you fail. There's no two ways to it. I'm glad that they apologized. I read Dr. Sanusi apologizing to Nigerians and to the government and so on, which is okay, because at times, no matter what you do, if you're destined to lose, you will lose. But all said and done, what we have been discussing so far, when you zero it to the NFF, they're still complicit. They ought to have looked inwards. Our developmental program, like I said earlier on, PDC has been there for about 6-7 years now.
2014. That's
it.
8
years now. And
September,
we cannot point to a proper localized program for discovery and development.
Which is key.
It's key. We can also not point to a re-engineering of our Premier League.
Not at all.
Our Premier League is, let me just not use derogatory words. Is not it. And the football of a country is as good as your league. Every country in this world, your football is as good as your league. And the caliber of players that form the nucleus of your team. Most of these teams that are in Europe that plays well is because those boys are in Europe, not far from their home. And they play their football based on certain environmental circumstances that they are already used to. If you watched our last Super Eagles, the last match, most of the players were holding their knees after the first half, fatigued, because they are not used to this weather. A lot of them were holding their knees.
Do you think that Moshood Abiola Stadium would have been the best place to have that match?
Dr. Peters said it could have been Uyo.
Yes. Or you don't think he played any part?
I don't think he did. I don't think the stadium matters, you know, because these are professional players. They should be able to play anywhere. It's adaptation, acclimatization and adaptation. You know, are you saying if you take them to the Middle East, they won't play? They will play. and Dubai, all those places, they are very hot. They will play. But I think we didn't. You see, some of these boys, it still boils down to the fact that they don't have it. Honestly.
This issue of being Nigeria bred.
If you are, even no matter how the sun, the rain, you are used to it.
Okay.
But all said and done, I think we should go back to the drawing board and, review, strategize, check out the areas where we have failed. Check out some of these things is about, let's look inwards, develop our league, develop grassroots football at the various states, and allow it to grow and, become the face of our national team, particularly under 16, under 20, and under 23. Some of those boys will now graduate, and even if they travel abroad, they already have the spirit, and the mentality of not being losers but being winners, no matter the circumstances and environment.
Do you think, before we go finally, do you think that we could ever get to the level where Nigerians will appreciate and support the foreign leagues as we would do with our Nigerian players?
Yeah, we can get to that level. Some states now, even in Akure here, people are beginning to come back to the stadium. What killed our football is mentality of win at home at all cost. Now you don't win at home at all cost. If you don't play well, you can lose. So people are beginning to see competition. It's becoming competitive, and what people want to see is competition. But if they know before the match that so team will win, nobody wants to come out and watch an already designed football match. But a football match that will generate some tension in you, and you are because you don't know which side can win. Then people will start coming back to the stadiums.
All right.
We can get to that point
Again, let's hope
if we
do
plan
get
it well.
there. Otumba Akimbobola, former board member of the Nigerian Premier League and presently Director General Sunshine Stars and Sunshine Queens. Thank you so much for coming on The Big Issue.
Great pleasure.
And to you as well, Henry. Thank you so much, Henry Olonwoye, a sports enthusiast. Thank you for joining us on The Big Issue.
Thank you for inviting me.
Sunday?
Thank you very much, everyone, for being part of the program. It returns next week, God willing. Please enjoy the rest of the day.
It's been a pleasure, and we will be looking at another issue. Same time next week. Join us again. I'm Obi Chukwemeka saying bye for now.